Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be digging out the rest of the trench here because I finally found a plumber that I want to use to finish running all my plumbing, and I've got to dig this trench over to the main house so I can run my water line through here. So that's what we're going to do today. Time provided, I'll get a saw, cut the concrete inside too. I've got to cut that back a little bit farther than I did before, finish tearing that concrete out, do a little more digging there as well, and then we'll be ready to bring the plumber out and start finishing off plumbing. Alright, as I'm digging here, I am discovering all kinds of fun stuff. So, if you look right here, let me get some of this dirt out of the way. I knew that I would have a pipe coming through here, because there's an old sprinkler head. I haven't used a sprinkler since I moved into this house. But there's an old sprinkler head right over underneath the camera stand there. So I figured there was going to be a pipe here, but I did not expect to dig up a valve, which is very odd. I'm going to try to dig around these, even though I'm not going to use them. But also I've got these electrical pipes coming down that run to the small building. And I just uncovered also, if I can get this dirt out of the way, let me take a couple shovelfuls out real quick. And you can kind of see it there. There's my electrical pipes going out too. So I've got this red handled valve. And these pipes here I'm going to have to dig around. And then those electrical conduit pipes right there. Got water leaking, so I can get a little closer here. Difference in sunlight, really kind of sunlight to the shade messes up the focus here, but you can see water there. It's actually leaking in from the other side here. I'll have to drain all that out eventually. I just haven't gotten there yet. Don't really want water in here with me in this ditch, but until I drain it, there's not really a lot I can do about that. I've got something right there, so I can't go any deeper there. So that is basically 11.5 inches to the bottom of that shovel. So that's all I can do right there. I can take the rest of this about a 1/2 inch lower than that, and that should be the 12 inches I need. I was speaking with my plumber. He said I don't have to get too deep with this. I only have to go 12 inches below grade for the water lines and 2 inches below grade for the sewer. So I don't have to dig this trench as deep as I dug the rest of them. So let's go ahead and finish digging this out. I'm gonna have to drain some of this water out of this ditch before I can dig the rest of it out. It's just getting too muddy over there. I need to be able to stand in the hole. So I'm gonna get my sup pump out and drain this ditch here. Alright, so I got my sup pump in there. You can see the water getting disturbed because it's pumping the water out. This is a hose I found laying out in the area I'm going to make my food forest. It was buried under mulch and stuff, so I put a new connector end on it and then attached it to my sup pump so I can control where the water goes. And let me show you what I'm doing with the water. So here are the garden beds in front of my house. Water coming out, you see it's dirty. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Very dirty water. We're just going to go ahead, it's good water pressure. We'll just go ahead and give everything a good watering here. Wouldn't drink that water. Some bloody water, but. And I probably won't drain it all out. I got some frogs living in there, so I don't want to mess their habitat up just yet. But let me actually zoom this in, see if I can show the discoloration of the water coming out on camera. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it or not. Got a dark orangey color to it. Cover that hydrangea in real good. just let that run into the bed. Let's go check on how much is drained out already. It's draining pretty steady. It just shut off, which means it got below a point where this float is what triggers it on and off, and it got below a point where this, I can just manually force it to keep draining by holding this up like that. It's going to take a little bit more out. There are a lot of tadpoles living down in here. Mama Frog and Papa Frog have been busy. I've drained this thing out before. It takes about 15-20 minutes to drain it all the way. Again, I'm not draining all of it out today. I just want to get the water levels down so I can dig the rest of this out over here on the side. We just had some big storms blow in this last week. It's why it was so full. If I let it drain on its own, it'll completely drain in about, if I get no rain, in about a month, maybe a month and a half. So it sticks around for a while. I am going to do a pond in here eventually, and frogs will be happy with that. So I'm debating on, when I rebury all of this, going ahead and digging a little pond. Alright, we're going to stop it right there. If I need to drain more out, I will. I'll just leave it in there for now. But that's as far as I'm going to go at this point. Again, I'm going to leave some waters for the frogs. Plus we got tadpoles living in there. And eventually I'm going to have to drain the whole thing so we can lay the water lines. And then I'm going to have to bury it all back in. So they're going to lose their habitat then. But like I said, I may just go ahead and dig a little hole, small pond or something, or the start of the pond, and let the water sit in there so that the frogs have some habitat to live in until I can put my permanent pond in. But for now, it's time to get back to digging. There's too much water in there, so I gotta drain it out. I thought I had it low enough. I broke the dam and it all came flooding over. So, take more out. Depth-wise, I should be good. Just need to clean it up a little bit right in here. Yeah. Good for depth. Alright, got that outside ditch dug the rest of the way to the foundation of the house. Now I got to prep the inside here. There is some concrete I'll have to cut. All that gravel you see over there, all that's got to get moved so he can work in that space. It's also where I have to cut some of the gravel. That wall between the main area here and that bathroom has to be removed. I have to build a 2x6 wall a little bit further back from that. So first thing I'm going to do is move some of this dirt. This dirt pile you see right here, I don't need this extra cutout over here. That was for the second floor bathroom sewer, and I'm not going to use that anymore, so I'm not going to put one up there. So I'm going to go ahead and backfill some of this dirt into that hole. That way it's also out of the way. Oh, that's heavy. Okay. All I did was just roll it back here to the other side of the room. I just needed to clear that area out because I have to snap some lines, take some concrete out over there to get to the wall. That's where we're going to put in drainage for the stackable washer dryer. And then I also got to remove that wall and bring it back about 10 to 12 inches, make it a 2x6 wall, and then rebuild it. So I need also to go ahead and do that, which means I also have to clear out my little storage area over here on the side. So a fair bit of work here to do. Let's keep going. up nice. Just got to tear that wall out now and move the camera so we can get a little bit better view. Whew. It's going to be tough. You can see this on the camera, but there it is. I have a nail into that concrete that does not want to let go. That one may be tough to get out too. That actually came out okay. Alright, got that wall out. What you see up there, that kind of weird looking thing, that's just dead wood. All that is dead wood I put up there. Dead wood is just, it's wood that doesn't serve a purpose in a building. It's except for to be able to attach your drywall when you put your drywall in. That's the whole purpose of the dead wood. So that's all that was. That'll all come out eventually. I'm not worried about it right now. Even if it stayed, it's above the ceiling. So it's not going to be in the way. Alright, let's clean this up. And we'll go ahead and snap some lines of the concrete I need to cut and where my new wall is going to be. Alright, I have my new wall marked. And this wall, these two lines you see right here, that is marking my 2x6 wall, because this is going to be a wet wall right here. And this wall is going to come along here. Here is where the old hole was cut to. So you can see how far back from the old wall. The old wall ended right here. So I cut back into that wall. I actually am now going to have to come back another about 7, 8, about 11 inches to get back into the new wall. So I can actually put a tape measure on it, get that more exact. Oh, it's a little further than I thought. So almost 16 inches. There's 16 right there to get to this line. So significant, but not too bad since most of the cutting is already done. And then of course this wall will go all the way over to the edge. Then what we have here, let's see if I can zoom in a little more. You should see a couple blue lines right in here. This is going to be the divider wall between the shower, which will be a 4 foot that way by 3 foot this way, and then the washer dryer area. So, grab my tape measure again, give you an idea of the dimensions here. This line right here marks the inside of the shower area. And I am 4 foot to that line. I don't even know if you can see that. That's 4 foot right there. So I'll have some hardy board in there, and then I'll have my tile outside of that. So it'll be a little less than 4 foot, but basically a 4 foot long shower. And then I'll come out from this wall 3 foot, which will be right about here. So the shower drain will be as close to this edge here as I can get it. Now, I don't know if you can see it in the camera view, but I have a line right here and a line right here. These are my cut lines. So I have to cut this concrete back into this where this wall is because that's how the plumber's going to bring the shower drain in for the washer dryer. And it will come over, it'll come up in this wall right here next to this one, but in the little wall I'm building right here, it'll come up, and then it'll turn back into this wall here, and then come over, and then this is where we'll put the washer dryer connections right here. So, right in this wall right here. So, that's how all this is going to come together. So I have to get a saw and I have to make that cut over there. I've got to widen this cut right here. And then the inside here is ready for the plumber. Alright, this is the next task of getting ready for that plumber to come in and set everything up. I dug these trenches like 2 years ago, I guess, and they've grown in. Some of the roots I cut back have had shoots out of them, and I got leaves and mulch and stuff piled up in here. Here's the trench I just dug in earlier, going towards the main house for the water line. It needs cleaned up a little bit too, so I'm going to get in here with a rake and some pruning shears and try to just clean this up a little bit so it looks a little bit neater. He can get in here and do what he needs to do to lay the rest of the plumbing pipes. I think that's it. That all cleaned up. A little bit to clean out on the other side, a little more digging to do. So this little bit you see in here, this was all dug out originally so we could make the connection, the tie-in. The plumbing that comes from the house into the septic comes right down through here. We had to cut this, put a Y on here to tie all this in, and we were having a hurricane coming in. This a few years ago, Hurricane Florence, and it was suggested to me that I bury this right here because it's right at the opening of the septic, and there was a fear that if this filled up with water, that pressure near the septic might allow the water to leak into the septic system, which would cause it to overflow, which could cause other issues. So I buried this back, or I had my son bury this back, and now that we're getting ready to get everything ready for inspection, I've got to dig it all back out. I had my wife start on it earlier, and I'm going to go ahead and finish this up for her. So notice the black coupling, that's a rubber coupling, and I understood that I could use that to make a tie-in underground and that it met code. Move this up here. I have since found out that no, that does not meet code, but whether it met code or not, I still had to dig this out for the inspector to see. Since it doesn't meet code and it'll be all dug out, the plumber said he'll come in and make the correction. I thought it came in at a T. I'm glad to see it does not. It comes in on a Y, a swooping Y, and that's all that you need to do to meet code also. So the only thing that has to be replaced is that coupling, and then there's another one on the other side over there that I still need to dig out. So that's next. Stop and order dinner for the family. Let's dig out the rest of this hole now. I think that does it for this hole. All I have left to do now is get a cement saw and cut out and dig out the spots in the tiny house for the plumbing. And then we're ready to get the plumber out here.